Hello and welcome to my world of words. Have I ever mentioned that I'm a fan of horror? Not horror, horror. Well, now you know it. Today we're gonna be talking about Dracula. Very classic horror story, one of my favorite books of all times. I've read it twice, only twice, and I've watched all of the adaptations. I read this one so long ago and I decided to read it again earlier this year, even though I don't usually reread books. Since I know what's going to happen, I don't like to read them again, because what's the point of that? There are so many books out there to read. Why would I read the same book twice? But I did! I did read this for the second time because I wanted to relieve the experience. Relieve, not relieve. Dracula by Bram Stoker consists of journal entries, letters, telegrams. It begins with Jonathan Harker, an English lawyer who travels to Transylvania to meet Count Dracula, a client of his firm, in order to finalize a property transaction. When Harker meets Dracula, he acknowledges the fact that the man is strange and just very pale. At some point, when Harker cuts himself while shaving, Dracula lunges at his throat. And that's something all of you already know because you've all watched the movie. I keep forgetting to put a spoiler alert at the beginning of my video, so get ready for spoilers. One night, some female vampires try to seduce Harker, and after that he finds out that Dracula is a vampire, because in this world vampires exist. So let's start with that premise, that in Dracula, in Bram Stoker's multiverse universe, whatever, vampires are a thing. This is very important information that we are gonna use later in the story. So Harker finds out that Dracula survives by drinking human blood, and soon enough he knows that that's how he's going to die. He assumes that he'll be the next victim, so he attacks the Count, but he fails. Of course, man versus vampire. So Dracula leaves Harker in the castle and departs for England. Okay, I think it's important to mention here that Dracula made Harker write some letters to his fiancée Mina, claiming that he would be leaving soon. So there be proof that Harker has left the Count's castle, and that whatever happened to him happened after that, and Dracula has nothing to account for. Meanwhile, in England, Mina, the fiancée, is visiting a friend named Lucy. Lucy has recently gotten engaged after declining several possible husbands, suitors, what do you call those? Anyways, many men proposed to her and she declined, but she got finally engaged, and I laughed so hard at this point because Mina and Lucy were talking about that, and they said something along the lines of, why do we have to reject some of this really nice man? Why can't we marry more than one? And I thought that was very funny. Why can't we marry more than one? Everyone would be happy then, right? Right? So Lucy sleepwalks. And one night, while she's sleeping and walking and on an adventure by herself, Mina finds her outside near a graveyard, and there's a shape hovering over her. After that, they find that Lucy has two small red marks on her neck, and Mina assumes that she might have pricked her with her pin accidentally or not. And over the following days, Lucy falls ill, and there's a bat around her. So Mina receives a message from Jonathan, who is still alive, and goes to find him and leaves Lucy alone. Dr. Seward and Dr. Van Helsing are left to take care of Lucy, who, after a number of failed blood transfusions, they decide that further actions are needed. They fill the room with garlic to ward off vampires, because vampires are a thing in this universe, and doctors know exactly how to get rid of them, but soon Lucy dies anyway because someone kept taking away the garlic because it stinked, kept opening the windows for the vampire to come in. No comment. No comment. After her death, we have reports of a creature moving around, attacking children, and Jonathan and Mina get back to England. Notification from my calendar. Oh no. Sorry, I got a notification and then I lost my lighting settings. I'm so sorry. I hope it's not that bad. Moving forward. Jonathan and Mina get married. Finally. And Jonathan talks to Dr. Van Helsing about what he went through in Transylvania, and somehow the doctor understands that Lucy is a vampire now. She somehow contracted the virus from Dracula, and now she's the one attacking children. It's all scientific, okay? Dracula has a virus and he transmitted it to Lucy, who is now transmitting it to little children. So in order to prevent her from killing further, they dig up her corpse, stake her through the heart and cut off her head, and then stuff her mouth with garlic. Now would be a very good time to pause this video and start taking notes. How to kill a vampire the original way. Now that Lucy has been taken care of, they all decide to track down Dracula, the one who started it all. Or did he? Mina starts behaving somewhat weird and the rest feel kind of uneasy. So one night, Dr. Van Helsing and Dr. Seward break into her room only to find Jonathan unconscious and Mina drinking blood from Dracula's chest, cut in his chest. Dracula disappears and returns to Transylvania, and the group follows him there. And when they find him, they extinguish him the original way by cutting his head off, stabbing him in the heart, and Dracula just turns into dust and whatnot. Take notes. You never know when you're gonna meet a vampire around here. When Dracula dies, there's a sense of peace over his face, and that just haunted me as a child when I had first read it. I thought that Dracula was just a tormented soul, cursed to live forever and drink human blood. I couldn't get over it. That even inspired me to write something similar in one of my stories where the protagonist slightly smiles while she's dying, believing that she was finally free. That's another story. Although Dracula is portrayed as a monster here, this very line at the end shows that maybe he's not. Someone else might have converted him without his will and forced him to live this life of eternal torture. I don't know. I feel the same thing about Frankenstein's monster. I believe Frankenstein was the real monster and that the monster was just a poor soul. That's another different story. This video gets 10 likes. I'll review Frankenstein too. So make sure to like this video if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more book reviews. Bye!